Not. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Sue's Views. I'm doing a part 2 today on branding specifically. And I just did an interview, Sue's Muse, go watch it, with Richard Skipper. But Richard happens to be one of the best promoters in the business. And I just wanted to pick your brains a little bit. In my first part 1 about branding, I talked about the importance of choosing a logo and postcards and promoting and where, who, what, where, when, and why. Tell me a little bit about your process and mention your use of swag, maybe.
I'll mention that as well.
Okay.
So let me start with having a name that people recognize. Richard Skipper celebrates with me. You also have Sue's Views, and there are other branding names that you've used over the years, I know. But the thing is that when it all started with a blog. And when I started writing the blog, I reached out to the community through social media, and I said, can someone give me a title for my blog? And our dear friend, John Patrick Schutz, recommended Richard's Rants and Raves. And that was my first blog title. So after doing that for a while, someone said to me, you are raving about things, but you never rant about things, which is true. Because I'm all about celebrating.
Right.
Anyone who knows me knows that. I celebrate life. I celebrate artists. I celebrate every day because it can be taken away like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I came up with the name. Then someone said, Richard Skipper Celebrates, because that says it all. I celebrate you. I celebrate Sue's Views. I celebrate Nightlife Exchange. I celebrate everything.
You say that your catchphrase is celebrating your body of worth.
Right.
And then you have a new catchphrase, which I notice on the top of your banner. What's that?
Still going strong.
Nice.
And James Beeman. James Beeman came up with that title. He named the show Still Going Strong. And it's one of those things that you start tweaking with. And then I start thinking, as I continue to celebrate other artists, to put the hashtag Still Going Strong on all the artists that I'm still celebrating, that are still here, that are still doing great work, that are still out there doing things. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to come up with a catchphrase or something that people are going to easily go, that's Richard Skipper, mm-hmm. That's Sue Matsuki, that's Jeff Harner, that's James Beeman. And it's very easy, getting there is the difficult part. Once you have that, you realize that everything else starts to fall into place.
So, I noticed on your cards when initially when it says Richard Skipper Celebrates, celebrate was like with lights and looked like a celebration. And now you're using that in Richard Skipper in some things. So talk to me a little bit about design. Who comes up with these ideas for these designs, and how important is that, again, in branding who you are and celebrating? This word celebrates,
Well, now I'm working with James Beeman, and not only is he a great director, but he's also a great branding expert himself. You should have him on the show.
Maybe I'll interview him.
Yes, he really is. He does it, the postcards for the people that he directs, the artwork, everything that comes together. And so, excuse me. So he is really hands-on in terms of working with his clients. So I deferred to him. He came up with this logo, this idea. He presented it to me. I liked it. And so I've been using it ever since.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about how you came into being with doing swag, and what swag, you have cups, you have this, that, you do a lot of promotional things, which are really, really smart. Tell me how that came to be.
When we were doing the Richard Skipper Celebrates live series produced by Russ Woolley, when we were doing those shows, I wanted to give a gift to all of my artists that were in the show. So I would have these mugs created with every person's mug on, based on the poster design for those shows. And it gets to be expensive, folks. But I started putting those together, giving those out during my shows. And then, and I would always have 2 extras that I could give to 2 people in the audience, one on stage right, one on stage left, all the way at the end. And, and then I got the idea when I was doing my podcast to start doing giveaways. So I thought the mug is a great idea. Everyone drinks.
Right.
Everyone drinks out of their morning coffee, whatever. So I started sending these mugs to my guest on the show and asking them if they would do a selfie. If you go to my website, there's a section on the website that says cups of love, because that's what I call them.
Mhm.
I started with mug shots.
Oh, that's
And
funny
then
too.
a certain person got arrested and posted a mugshot. And I thought, I don't want that association.
Mhm.
So I got away from doing the mugshots, and now I call them cups of love. And I continue to do them. And when I was doing my Kickstarter for my current show, that was one of the items that we started giving away.
Cool. So everyone, go to richardskippercelebrates.com. Go to Richard Skipper Celebrates on YouTube if you want to see any and all of the amazing interviews he's done over the years. I just want to put this back up because Richard will be at Crazy Cox on August 5th. She's doing 2 shows, 7 and 9:30, with the wonderful Lorna Dallas as his special guest. And notice the logo. See what I was talking about? Richard Skipper looks like lights. The Hello Dolly is the Hello Dolly logo. Branding, 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 people. It's very, very important when you are starting out in this business to create something that people will identify with. Like I talked about in my earlier conversation about postcards and having all things consistent. I think consistency in branding is very important too.
Oh, it's very, very important. A lot of people will be changing around until they find
what they want. Yeah, yeah.
But if you're walking down a supermarket aisle, for example, you know what a Pepsi bottle looks like,
Right.
or a Coke bottle or something. You don't even have to look for the name of it, because that item is right there in your face, because it's something that you're familiar with. And that's the bottom line, familiar.
I used Philip Officer as an example of that. Philip, when he did his CDs, all his CDs had a caricature, a different caricature of him on the front of the CD, and that became a signature thing. So when you're walking, back in the day when Columbia had a record store, which we don't do anymore, but you'd walk by this thing and there would be Philip, and I knew it was Philip immediately. So branding. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Richard, thank you for spending a few minutes with us on this topic. I really appreciate it. You are the master, and congratulations on your new adventure. We wish you well.
Thank
Take
you.
care. We'll see you next time, everyone.